And good evening, Thursday night. It's the Prep Sports Report, Thursday Night Live. It's the coach, Carl Damasi, the columnist, Stephen Elmo Weeks, and the district AD and the coordinator, the district AD of Savannah-Chatham County Public Schools and the coordinated director of Savannah Junior Golf forever. I mean, he's been doing it for about 25 years, John Sanders. John, great to see you. I hope everything's going good.
Everything's going well. Looking forward to some golf this summer, getting them kids on the course and having a good year at it.
Well, I'm glad it's going to take place, and no better person than to ask you the question. The golf guru himself, the man that knows a lot about golf in Savannah, is Stephen Elmo Weeks.
Yeah, I apologize for this. I got some mosquitoes jumping on me. John, my son's played Savannah Junior Golf for the past 2 years. He started when he was 9, played when he was 10, now this year, and I tell you, it's been one of the most enjoyable experiences. He's met so many nice kids and just had great experiences. But why did you start the Savannah Junior Golf Association, or kind of what's your passion behind this? And it has to be a labor of love, because I know it ain't financially motivated.
Well, actually, I didn't start it. I got involved with it right after it got started. Mark Bowie kind of helped instigate it with a gentleman named Roger Van Dyke, who worked at the Landings Club back 30 some odd years ago, 32, 33 years ago, I guess. And they got it started, and I was just started teaching and had the summers off, and it was a summer thing, and I love golf. So I said, hey, listen, I got the summers off. I'd love to help. And so I just kind of volunteered and then started running one of the divisions, and then kind of moved on up into it, I guess. So it's been fun. I love golf. I love kids. I've been teaching for 33 years, so it's just one of those things that's worked out well.
Well, I tell you, I have been so impressed with the way the tournaments are run and how much the kids learn. And I think the greatest thing about it is that no caddies, no parents. The kids are out there. They're keeping their own score. They're taking care of their own business. They're, communicating amongst themselves. And it's been such a great learning experience for my own son. And I know that it's been like that for a lot of people. But tell us a little bit about the reason you run it the way you run it, and what you want the kids to be able to sort of take away from it.
Well, we want the kids to learn how to handle themselves on the golf course. There's all the other sports, you have a coach and they're out there telling you what to do, and with basketball, football, whatever. And, at the tournament series level, where a lot of these kids play, when they get to this level, we want them to learn to think on their own, decide, hey, what club do I need to use to hit in this situation? I don't need mom or dad or the golf pro telling me what to do. It's for me to learn. And if I make a mistake, hey, then I'll learn from that mistake next time, and it's just a great learning experience. If you're involved in golf, it's got so many ups and downs. I mean, you can go out and play a great hole and have a birdie and a par and be feeling good, and all of a sudden you triple bogey a hole, and oh wow, there goes the score, it's the end of the world. But then you got to recover, because you still got more golf to play. So right. I think it teaches the kids that hey, listen, there's still more to go here, and let me gather up my whatever and try to get this thing going and hit some good shots and get this round back where it needs to be. So I think the game of golf teaches so much to these kids.
And you start such an early age with these kids, right?
Oh yeah, we actually used to start at 10, but probably about 4 years ago or so, we dropped it down to 8, and mostly because we had some kids who were able to compete at that age. Now we do have a what we call a novice intermediate division, where the kids play 9 holes, and those are for kids who aren't quite ready to compete by themselves. It's a little more relaxed atmosphere. Like I said, they only play 9 holes of golf, and we don't mind a little more parent involvement there to give them a little help, to help keep them moving along on the course, so they're not lag behind and get too slow. But so we try to offer a couple different options for them.
I'll tell you a quick personal story. When Jack started playing Savannah Junior Golf for the first time, he was only 9 years old, and he was good enough to play, but I didn't realize how dependent he was on me
Right.
until that very first tournament, and it was at Crosswinds. And he's playing, he'd probably parred to, doing all right.
Right.
And he had a real poor tee shot on one of the holes. I think it was number 1 or 2 or something like that. And he kind of started walking towards me to say something. And I was with another parent. I was with a parent from Richmond Hill. And I looked at him and I kind of went, like that. And he was like, "What?" And I said, "I can't talk to you, man. I'm not with you. I'm a spectator." And it was a learning experience for both of us because that's the first round of golf he's ever played without me in his eir.
Right.
And now he won't listen to me.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
It's hey, John, he's better than I am, so it's a good thing. But hey, it's exciting that that we're going to have the season. I mean, I think a lot of folks around town were anxious to hear about this. Talk a little bit about the decision to go ahead and play the tournaments and set the schedule. I mean, are y'all are comfortable with how it's going to be run and the social distancing and all that good stuff?
Yeah, we are. Joey Tilton helps me a lot. He's kind of my right-hand man here now, and he's one of the assistants out at Deer Creek at the Landings, and obviously with his involvement around golf every day, and he's working a lot with the juniors out there, and I talked to Paul Johnson from US Kids and just did some research on what some of the other junior programs were doing. And so we gathered some information and put together a plan and decided that, hey, listen, when you're on the golf course, you're social distancing anyway. I mean, you're not with each other. You're not, within 6 feet, all these things. So we are putting some restrictions on the kids. We're not going to have scoreboards so the kids don't gather around the scoreboard at the end of the tournament.
Right.
And we're doing some things like that. We're telling them, hey, don't shake hands, which, golf is, traditionally at the end of a match, you take off your hat, you shake hands, and the kids are used to that. But, saying, hey, listen, right now, you finish up, you're going to walk in, you're going to turn in your scorecard, and you're going to leave. And we're going to post the scores online, and then you can find out later if you won or not. So it's going to be a change, but we feel that, there was a desire in the community and the kids to really want to play. And so we said, well, let's go ahead and do it,
That's great.
How much does it mean to these junior golfers, John and Stephen, that they're going to have a chance to play a sport? I'll be honest with you. When I started doing those public service announcements, one of the first places I went to was Bacon Park because they were the only one that would allow you to do any kind of sport or activity. So, and you didn't see many kids out there. So what's this going to mean to them?
I mean, personally, one of the reasons why we have this program is because there are a lot of junior golf tournaments out there. And Stephen, obviously, with a Jack who plays, I mean, it can get pretty expensive. I mean, because a lot of these tournaments are out of town. And so you're paying maybe $150, $200 to play in a 2-day tournament, maybe in Jacksonville. But you got to drive to Jacksonville. You got to pay for lodging. You got to pay for food. So by the time you go down there and pay the entry fees and pay for the weekend to stay out of town, I mean, you might have spent $500, $600, $700. I mean, who knows? So we charge $170 for basically, I think it's 6 tournaments, 4 18-hole tournaments, and 2 36-hole tournaments, and that's it. $170. You don't have to travel out of town. You don't have any extra expenses. So I think we give these kids a bargain. And we just want them out there playing. We want them learning, and we just hope that from our program they get better so they can play high school golf, possibly go to college and play college golf, and just give them those experiences that they might not have if they don't have the financial means to go out of town and play in some of these other bigger tournaments.
Well, John, you mentioned something that's 100% true is, junior golf. I'm blessed to have a kid who can play, but you have to be very careful about accepting these invitations because you're right. A lot of them are in Pinehurst, North Carolina, and Palm Beach Gardens, Florida, and things of that nature. And you're looking at $500-$600 to play, 36-hole golf tournament, and until they get to an age where maybe they're being recruited by a college, you're talking about 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old kids, and yeah, can they play? Absolutely. But it is, you have to ask that question. And I ask it to myself constantly: is the investment worth the output? Because, any kid, next year could be like, you know what? I don't like golf anymore. I'm going to play baseball. And,
Right.
and then you've done it. So it is the Savannah Junior Golf Association is the best deal going in junior sports. I mean, it's a learning experience. And not only that, what you said earlier, you're not only learning how to play the game of golf and handle yourself, you're learning to be accountable for your own behavior and performance. And that is huge. I mean, for kids in this day and age, you hit one in the mud or in the water, you had nobody else to blame. It was your swing and your club choice and your direction and all that stuff. And I think in this day and age, that is it's hard to put a price on it right now.
Yeah, I think so too.
And if you're just joining us on Facebook Live, on YouTube Live, or Twitter Live, you're listening to the Prep Sports Report Thursday Night Live. It's the coach, Carl DeMasi, with the columnist, Stephen Elmo Weeks. And, of course, this week's guest, Savannah Chatham County Public School District Athletic Director / Savannah Junior Golf Coordinator, Director, you name it, groundskeeper, lunch maker, John Sanders. So, John, what are the guidelines, though? I know, golf is definitely automatically, most of the time, social distancing, but are there going to be any other rules that these kids are going to have to follow that you guys might have to enforce with all this stuff that everybody's watching what we're doing?
Yeah, we're going to try to have a few extra people riding around this year, and I guess volunteers /
marshals,
employees, right, riding around, just reminding the kids if they see them get too close. But if any of you, and I know Stephen has, I heard you've been out in the golf course a little bit, Carl. I heard you were at Levita the other day. But
I did. I got first time in 25 years I've ever played that golf course. I played every other one except for that one.
But anyway, a lot of the golf courses, you leave the flag stick in. Luckily, I say luckily, but they changed the rule a few years back where you can leave the flag stick in. Well, now you're saying we're not taking the flag stick out. You don't have a choice now. We're just leaving it in the hole. If you hit the ball in a bunker, we aren't even going to have rakes in the bunker, so they're going to be rules and protocols for that. Basically, you pick the ball up, we're going to allow you to smooth the sand and place it back down. No closer to the hole, you got to stay in the sand trap. So, things like that. Like I mentioned earlier, you turn in your card, you leave. We don't gather around the scoreboard to see who wins. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to give out trophies, but hopefully by the end of the season, things will loosen up, and by the time we get to the Matt Warren, our championship at the end, we'll be able to give out some awards and recognize people for different things they did during the season. So those are some of the basic things that we're doing there too.
Well, and we'll talk. Let's talk about the schedule a little bit because it's a good schedule. You've got Crosswinds Golf Club, Savannah Country Club. I know Bacon Park will host the Junior City Amateur Championship. The Savannah Golf Club hosts the Matt Warren, which is just a terrific event. All of those golf courses are generous to give up their time, but it's a really good schedule and really good golf courses. We're the kids have an opportunity to play some really good golf courses that'll be in great shape. That the commitment from the golf courses, that's pretty important from a community standpoint. And how early do y'all start setting those things up? I mean, is it kind of year over year, or do you start looking at it right after the season ends?
Well, this year it's been within the last month. So this year it was kind of last minute. But all these golf courses and all these pros, I mean, they've been working with us for so long. I mean, they know the importance of junior golf. They know that these kids, when they get older and they have a job, and that they're going to remember, oh, these people used to let us come out and play golf, at their golf course. They did this for junior golf, so I'm going to support those golf courses. So I can't say enough about the golf courses, the pros and the directing golf at these places that just open up their arms and say, hey, listen, we want the kids here, we want them playing. And it's just awesome what they do. Hey, and you mentioned the schedule. The schedule just got better. We just got confirmation, I guess sometime at the end of last week, that we're going to have an event at Deer Creek as well.
Nice.
So we just added.
Wow, I hadn't heard about that. That's great.
Yeah. So we just made it a little bit better. So That's exciting. So we're glad that we're able to get all this done for the kids.
All right, we'll throw it out again. But if anybody wants to get involved in this, we're going to come back and do it again. I got a couple other questions I want to ask you, but if they specifically, where can get the information, how they could join, and what they need to do.
They just can go to our website. It's just Savannah JR Golf, JR for Junior.com, and just kind of go through the site. It's got the events on it. It's got the schedule. We actually have a forms page, which kind of gives you some direction and has our forms there, which you can just click on the form, print it, fill it out, and basically you fill it out and mail it into us. Unfortunately, we don't have payment through PayPal or anything on the computer, so we do take checks. And I know sometimes that's rare for people these days, but even me, I was looking from a checkbook the other night to write a check. Had a hard time finding it. But anyway, and that's it. It's as simple as that. Our first event is June 8th, and we just need to have the registration for that event by that Friday, because we're doing actually printing scoreboards prior to the event, so and scorecards. So we want all that. We need all that information by Friday so we can get all that stuff done.
All right.
I'm here to tell you, if you've got a junior golfer, if you got a kid who loves to play golf, I can attest to this. They will have a wonderful experience. You don't need to, you don't need to think you're going to go out there and need to shoot some record-setting score. We've seen some good scores. We've seen some really good scores, and that's part of it. But you can have a really good experience in Savannah Junior Golf Association tournaments. Even if it's the first time you've played a tournament, or it's the first time you've tried to play an 18-hole tournament, or whatever you want to do, you can have a really good experience, regardless. If you want to play in that tournament series, I know, John, they need to be able to break 100 every time, but odds are, as you go from the first tournament through the series, you're going to get better and more comfortable and stuff. So I hope a lot of young people around here will take advantage of it and test themselves against the golf course and playing in those conditions, because it's a really valuable experience, and I know the community appreciates what you do. It's like I said, I know it's got to be a labor of love.
Well, it's the big time news with me every summer, right, John?
That's right, Carl.
I always got to get a young golfer on. Okay, I'm going to make you turn your hat on now. Last night on the Call Tomassi Sports Report, we did a coaches roundtable. We had Kyle Hockman from New Hampstead. We had Danny Britt from BC, Matt Lazat from Richmond Hill, and Baker Woodward from Savannah Christian. And it seems like everybody's putting their ducks in a row. And, they don't have what you got to deal with. You got, 13 high schools, 30-something middle schools. So what is this going to look like for you with this, with such it's enormous amount of teams and coaches you got to deal with? How's Savannah County Public Schools going to handle this June 8th opening of sports?
It's a good question there, Carl. That's a very good question. Well, it's just a very big undertaking. If you're just an individual school, you can think of, how am I going to do things for my school? But right. When you have to worry about a whole district and you have 30-something thousand kids in your whole system, and we have a kid who's on a varsity football team, and we're trying to bring them in for workouts or conditioning, and they go home and they got a little brother, little sister who's 4 or 5 years old, and maybe they have a grandma lives in the house who's older, and you got people who are maybe high risk for this coronavirus. We have to be very careful the procedures and restrictions that we put in place to make sure that we're doing everything we can to make sure these kids are getting what they need to do athletically, but being safe, and healthy and avoiding any issues. With the social distancing and the washing your hands and everything. I've been, this whole week I've been going through documents and trying to write up procedures and protocols. Had a meeting today with Dr. Levette. So we're working on a plan and trying to put something together. It's still in the process, so it's a big undertaking, and we have a lot to consider putting this in place. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. Usually this time of year, all the sports are done, and just kind of take a big sigh of relief. Okay, that's done, and start planning for next year. Well, we already did a lot of planning for next year during the when school was out, but now planning for this return on the summer, it's like I said, it's a big undertaking.
I think as a as a parent of two athletes, both of whom will be in the public school system next year, I've been impressed with the communication levels that we've received. It's I think it's going to require a lot of personal responsibility on the part of parents, families, and if you've got a kid with a little, even symptoms that maybe you didn't think about before, stuffy nose, just not feeling great. I think it's going to be incumbent upon parents to be accountable and say, wait a minute, we're going to keep you home and get you tested and make sure everything's fine. Because you're right. You're not, we've heard this mantra the whole time, and it's true for sports as well as anything else. We're not just protecting ourselves. We're protecting the people who we don't know that we're going to run into at the grocery store. Right. And I'll tell you, our family has missed sports tremendously, and I know we're all chomping at the bit to get it back, but I'm glad to hear that y'all are taking it as seriously as everybody else, and you're putting a system in place to protect the kids and the families and the community. And hopefully it will work out, and we'll be able to enjoy sports again, sooner rather than later.
Yeah, me too. It's as y'all know, being sports people. I mean, it's been a rough spring, not having all the sports and the kids out, and for everybody. It doesn't matter what level you're at, and so everybody's just excited that Georgia High School says, okay, we can start on the 8th. Georgia High School says, hey, we're opening up on the 8th. Well, that's good, but we just got to make sure the 8th is a good date that for us. It might be a good date for some people. It might be a good date for us, but it might not be. So we just got to make sure before we say what our date is here in Chatham County, that we have everything in place to make sure everybody's going to be safe.
Well, John, the first point out of the 16, I guess, stipulations that Georgia High School State Association says it's up to the school or the school district when it starts. And I don't think that was stressed enough with a lot of people. And I think it got out there that, hey, June 8th, we're going. But you know what? It's up to the school and the school system. And, we do have a question here, and I know the answer. I feel if there's no kids in school, there's no sports, right? The question is, does it matter whether or not the kids are back in school if we have athletics?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, you got to have a school season. I mean, a year. I mean, because if we're not allowing them in school, we're definitely not allowing them to be together to practice. So yeah, there's going to have to be a school opening before we can have sports.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many unwritten rules. I mean, the kids got to be in the school. The kids got to be there to do things. And then you got to think about how they're going to separate them in school and who's coming to school. I mean, there's so many stipulations that people don't see.
Right. There are a lot of rules in place here with Georgia High School and even with the district that people don't understand. They just think that, okay, my kid goes to school here, and so they're going to be able to play here. But there are a lot of restrictions and a lot of bylaws that Georgia High School has that our schools have to follow, And
I think people are just going to also have to be patient and smart about, if there's a positive test in your school, your season might get shut down. If there's a problem that comes up, I mean, one thing I think we've all learned is we're going to live day by day for a little while until we have a dependable vaccine and treatment and things like that. Sports, maybe it's taught us to have our priorities in line a little better. Sports are important, and they're great parts of our routines, and they're great parts of our family. But compared to the bigger picture, they're not as important as those things. So, John, I don't envy the position you're in. I don't really envy the position of any leadership position right now, because it's a lot of tough decisions, and I'm sure, there's people disappointed and pushing for other things and stuff. So I know y'all have spent some long hours, making the right decisions for everybody, the whole district.
Right. And it's a community thing. I mean, we can't just think about, that, man, we want to play football, so we're going to make sure these kids are out there and whatever. I mean, we have to think about the whole community, because there's so many kids involved here, and you get out there too soon and you get one kid. So you get a kid on your team and somehow they're asymptomatic, and all of a sudden a couple people get it, and all of a sudden it passes to your whole daggone team. And then what you're going to do? You know what I mean? I think that's a consideration that some people need to realize, that, hey, let's ease into this slowly and make sure we're being safe and taking as many precautions as we can before we just jump in feet first and say, it's June 8th. That's what Georgia High School says, so that's what we're going to do.
I just hope people understand that, we can't rush into it, because, it's one day, one life. And if you don't live that day the right way, somebody's not going to have a life. And like you said, the little kid at home, the elderly grandparent that helps take care of you is with you. And we have to realize this. And, off the top of my head, John, we probably got over 20,000 students that are involved in middle school and high school athletics. Maybe 15,000.
Might be a little high, but we got a lot. Yeah.
15,000 kids are involved. I mean, you got 13 high schools. You're going to have roughly about 13,000 kids, because I know some of the schools are smaller, but
right. It's a bunch. I wouldn't. I could throw out a guess there like you, but it's a lot of kids. So I mean, it could be a lot of people, that could be affected by one person getting something.
Well, John, I really appreciate you spending a little while with us tonight and talking about Savannah Junior Golf Association, as well as your role with the Savannah Chatham County Public School System. I think we're fortunate to have a thoughtful person like yourself in that role that's evaluating these things and making these decisions and helping lead this effort. So I appreciate you spending some time with us tonight, man.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all having me on. It's been fun.
Hold it, John. You know me. I got to be the nice guy here. We just got a question come up, and you're gonna probably say you haven't come up to that yet. But will athletes have to be tested for the virus before they can play the sport?
We haven't decided that yet. That's still an open question.
It's a big open question. But you and I go back a long time, 25 years. I can remember when I started at Jenkins. I was the girls' coach, and you were the girls' coach at Windsor Forest. We had a lot of fun. And now, I'm glad you made the jump to be the district athletic director, but I didn't wish this on you, buddy.
Well, hey, I appreciate it. It's been challenging, but I've enjoyed it. Reason I decided to take the leap is I just was thinking maybe I can make a difference, for instead of just the kids at Windsor Forest that I worked with for so many years, for all the kids in the district. So it's been a challenge, but it's been fun.
All right, and I got the right link right there, SavannahJRGolf.com.
That's it.
Okay, and you got a great guy running the show. And hey, if you need a volunteer on a Monday, if you need help, let me know, because right now I'm just sitting in the house.
I'll let you know.
I'm playing Prep Sports Report with Steven.
That's right.
And I'll see if I can find your left-hand club.
I'll give me a left and right-handed club.
Well, I heard you couldn't play very well right-handed, so I figured you might want to try left-handed.
Hey, you know what? I got out there and I played. That's all that mattered.
I'm just teasing, Carl.
And and Steven, I don't know if you agree with this. It's a game you never win at.
Golf. It's like Vegas. The house always wins. The game always wins. Golf always wins.
That's right.
All right, John, I'll talk to you and have fun with the ADs tomorrow. You probably got 20,000 questions going to come at you.
I'm sure I do.
Talk to you later.
All right, guys. Take care. Thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
I mean, you want to talk about a guy that loves kids, loves teaching. I mean, I think it takes a little out of him that he's up there in the office now. He's not with his kids at Windsor Forest, but he's got a passion for kids. And he carried on to the summits at junior golf. I mean, you can't have a better person in place. And he'll make sure everybody does the right thing, whether it's Savannah Chatham County Public School System or Savannah Junior Golf.
No, I completely agree. I love, I've listened to John talk to junior golfers for a couple years. I love how straightforward he is. I love how he stresses the integrity of the game and how to conduct yourself as a gentleman. He really is a tremendous ambassador for for both junior golf and Savannah Chatham County Public School System athletics. He's the right guy for those jobs. I'll tell you that.
And it's definitely a headache. I mean, I might have gave you 20,000 kids. Probably it's about 12 to 13,000 kids. But when you got to worry about that many kids and how many of those kids are going to come in contact with somebody out of the practice, you got to really worry about it. And we've been blessed down here. We haven't been affected like it has been all over the United States. And I can tell you, coming from New York and talking to a lot of my family and friends up in New York, we got lucky down here right now.
Agreed. Without question. I think we've been very blessed. I think some of it too, let's be honest. I think we did a pretty good job with the social distancing while it was in place. I think people took it seriously. I know my family did. I know you've done and I know that there's been community heroes out there like yourself who are spreading the message through different media platforms. But you're right. As of right now, we've been very fortunate, and hopefully that continues. And I think we're all praying that the whole country starts to subside a little bit and let us get back to enjoying our lives and, hey, enjoying sports. I mean, I'll tell you what's amazing to me, Carl, is we launched this Prep Sports Report website in the middle of a pandemic with no sports, and we're a month into it today, and we have almost 5,000 people have come and looked at the website, read the stories. The Facebook audience has grown. The Instagram audience has grown. Imagine what it's going to be like when we have sports to talk about.
Yeah, I mean, I know you got another job, and that's driving you crazy. Me trying to coordinate and get all this stuff together, and the old sports report, once or twice a week, but every time we turn around, there's a story about something, and
that's right.
Someone told me, what stories could there be in Savannah when there's no sports? There's a story every way you turn around.
Every day. I hear more things, and I'm telling you, once we start playing sports again, we're going to have more stories to tell on prepsportsreport.com than you can possibly get to in one day. It's going to be fantastic. I want to thank everybody out there who has gone to look at the website. I want to thank you for all the positive feedback. There's been a lot of people who have shared with us how much they enjoy the website, how much they like it. I've personally loved being able to celebrate these seniors that had their senior years interrupted. I know it doesn't certainly make up for it, but I'm glad we were able to at least shed some light on some of the young men and women in our community that have been so dedicated to their passion in sports for so long. That's been a great experience for me. And I know it's been a great experience for you to hear these stories and learn more about it. And I just couldn't thank everybody enough for how much support we've already received.
And, we're not done yet. It's just because the seniors have graduated. We have a couple schools that are going to have a graduation. We still want to tell the senior story. So if you have a senior and you don't know how to get in touch with us, go to prepsportsreport.com. You can send us a message there. Here's my phone number. My phone never goes off. 912-507-9158. Text me, send me a text with your email. Hey, I need help getting these stories. I just can't call everybody and get the stories. Steven can't call because he's helped me out because the involvement of the community is unbelievable. Send us your story. We want to get these kids up there, and that's what it's all about. That's been my main goal since I started this. But what I'm going to say here, and I know John's still listening. I've been involved in education, coaching since 1982. This is the first year. The second year. A couple of years ago, when I had my right knee replaced, I didn't make graduation. But I've only missed 2 graduations in 37 years. One because I had to get my knee replaced. But this year, it was strange not going to a graduation. I love when the teachers line up and the kids walk by you clap and you congratulate. And this whole thing was devastating to me. And when they took away sports back there in the beginning of March, and then no graduation and the kids not getting a prom. And like I tell my wife, I've never left high school, and it really devastated me.
Yeah, I was really grateful that Memorial Day School was able to have a graduation ceremony at Grayson Stadium. My niece Haley Watson graduated, and it's the most I have ever appreciated a high school graduation, including my own high school graduation. I was very moved by the ceremony. I was grateful to the school for doing it and doing it the right way and doing it in a safe way. And you're right. It's been a year like no other year in our lives. And hopefully we'll never have a year like this again. I'll tell you one thing, though. We won't ever take for granted those Friday night football games and Wednesday afternoon baseball games and golf tournaments and tennis matches, swim meets. I will never, I'll never take those for granted again because I miss them desperately. And it's not just my kids. I miss picking up the newspaper or going to, look at the scoreboard and just know who won a game, who scored a bunch of points, who's winning the region right now. I miss that stuff, Carl, and I know you miss it. I know you've got kids that you coach and teach who are devastated that they didn't get to play. I'll never take it for granted again, though. I promise you that.
It's an old cliche, and coaches say it all the time, and John, being a former coach, practice and play like it's your last game because you never know what's going to end. And for the class of 2020, they're feeling they're feeling that cliche more than anybody else. Because who would have thought, or who would have thunk that on March 24th, Georgia High School would say, "That's it, we're done." And so many of those seniors were devastated. And I remember Brandon Collins, the baseball coach at Islands High School, remember him saying to his kids, "I told you, you got to play and you got to practice like it's your last day and your last game because you never know when it's over. And when it's over, you don't know what you know what you lost. It's something special that you never can bring back."
Boy, that is a great teaching moment right there, Carl. And as an educator, I know that you've thought about that stuff long and hard, and that is a great teaching moment. You're right. We say that it's been a cliche. I think people haven't taken it seriously before. They'll take it seriously now, though, because whether you're in 5th grade or 7th grade, 8th grade, whatever. I'll give you on a personal level. My daughter finished at Blessed Sacrament School. She's been going there since 1st grade. She's been looking forward to her senior soccer season, as a goalkeeper forever. It's a big year. It's a big time. She never even got to have a practice. They had one get together where they just ran some sprints. Never had a practice, never put that green jersey on again, never played a game for Blessed. And so she won't forget that. And you're right. We got to say to these kids, like, listen, every time you come to practice, every game you play, treat it like it might be the last one you'll ever play, and make it special. Make a memory every time you put the uniform on.
And I've coached a lot of teams, a lot of years, and when you lose your last game or you win your last game but you don't make the playoffs, just watching boys, young men and young ladies, the tears starting to come to their eyes because they realize this is never going to happen again. Yeah, it might be intramurals. It might be playing in a church softball league. It might be going to play golf with friends at Bacon Park. But it's not like being on a team where that bond, that camaraderie, the blood, sweat, and tears that you go through with other people, your friends, it's never going to happen again. And it's something, I think that's what drives me to still coach. I gave up the football. I had to give up the basketball for my knees. But I'm telling you right now, if I didn't have that softball for the last 2 years, the girls at Islands High School, I'd be going crazy because it's just something in me. You just love being around the game, whatever game it may be. And you just love being around those kids. So
I couldn't agree more, Carl. I'll tell you, one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life was, as a parent, was take my son out of the championship game in the SPAL League this year because I knew the game was out of reach. We weren't going to win. We couldn't come back. And I had to take Jack out because it was the right thing to do. There's 2 or 3 minutes left. Get some other kids to play, and the tears in his eyes, and the genuine emotion pouring out of him because he knew he was going to another school next year. He knew he would not wear the uniform again, and that wasn't coronavirus related, but it was hard to pull the trigger on taking the kid out of the game because I knew what it meant to him and how much he put into it. And I know you've been through this 37 times.
Yeah,
that last time. It hurts us as almost the same as it hurts them. I hate that experience for them, but I'm glad they love it that much You know, I'm grateful that they love it so much that it matters to them, but you hate to see them hurt like that. So, well, look, we got more stuff to talk about next week. We'll have another great guest. So
we got to line that guest up. But we always seem to find somebody, and it's a lot of fun bringing them on.
Oh, we'll find somebody next week. Maybe we'll try to get an athlete who's restarting. I know I want to throw a couple things out there real quick. Georgia Coastal Aquatic Team, which my daughter swims for, they've started practicing in Richmond Hill, so they're doing things in stages and shifts. Golf has started. I know that June 8th is the tentative date. Let's go back and play sports. So it's coming, right? It's coming. And let's just keep the positive momentum going, keep the positive vibes going, and people keep sending us good stories about your kids.
And we got a couple of good ones we put up today. Go check it out at the new Prep Sports Report website, prepsportsreport.com. Send us your stories. Give us an email. Give me a phone call. Text me. Do the same thing with Stephen, and we'll get those stories up there because these kids deserve it, and that's what it's all about. All right, Stephen, I'll be talking to you. I know that, so we got a lot to cover. And
all right, man.
I'll talk to you.
Have a good night.
You too. And to wrap this up, once again, don't forget, on Saturday, I will be at Coach's Corner in the Sound Garden for the Coach and AD. This is a special show. My lead guest is no other than the voice of Georgia high school football, Tommy Palmer. We know he's battling cancer, but he's still writing for the Georgia Public Broadcasting Sports Department. He's still involved in that. He's hoping he gets a football season to call games, but Tommy Palmer is going to kick off the show. Then the second guest will be Matthew Osterman out of Savannah Country Day, senior baseball player, signed to play D2 baseball at Flagler College. He's going to come on and talk about his experience, 10 games into his high school season. It's over. And I love this one. And John probably remembers her. A.E. Beach, Lady Bulldog, now the head coach at Georgia Southern, Anita Baker. I can't wait to talk to this young lady. I probably coached against her, and John probably coached against her. So we're going to find out about that. But it's a great show this Saturday from the Sound Garden, the Carl DeMasi Sports Report with the Coach and AD. But once again, Prep Sports Report, that is my main goal. That's how the Carl DeMasi Sports Report came about. Please send me your stories. Let's hear about the kids. Let's hear about the good kids. Let's hear about the seniors. It's not over yet. I'll publish senior stories all summer long just to give them the just due they need. Once again, until Saturday, may be the best couple of days. Always hit it out of the park. And I talk to you next week. It's the coach and the columnist every Thursday night on the Prep Sports Report Thursday Night Live.